Welcome, gorgeous hearts, gorgeous souls. Welcome to another episode of Heart and Soul with Janet Groom and Caroline Palmy. And today we love to talk about resilience. Do you feel you are building up your resilience? Are you resilient in your life? And what could it mean? How can you learn to be more resilient? It's all here in our topic. And as usual, we share our insights, our life experiences, and our aim is to inspire you, to connect with you from our heart and soul, and help you on your path. So, resilience, it's a great topic at the moment. I think in every newspaper, every mind, body, soul, spirit journal, you hear about that. And what it means, for me, it's sort of like keep walking when we're in that tunnel, keep walking and trusting and continuing towards the light at the end of the tunnel. So just keep going. Or when you topple over, you get up and keep going again. It's that sort of, it's a bit of self-preservation, isn't it? What's your insight on this topic, Janet?
Well, when I think of resilience, it's like bouncing back after something has happened, as you say, getting back up. And I mean, the analogy that immediately springs to my mind is the tree. And a storm comes through, because I think we're getting to that time of the year is in the northern hemisphere where we're going into that autumnal season or fall, that you start to get these storms. And the tree, when we think of it, like as long as it's got those deep-seated roots, it can weather the storm. And the branches maybe just sway in the breeze or the wind, but because of the steady root system, the tree stays standing. And it's sort of like, it makes me think of that when things happen, when that storm hits in your life, is how resilient you are to weather that storm and how you recover after whatever happens. And I know myself, I wasn't very resilient. In fact, I would very much dwell on what happened, very much shut down, very unable to move forward, felt very stuck. And I think a few people will be able to relate to that feeling. And it's only later now in life, coming through on doing this spiritual journey, healing journey, where I've really learned what resilience actually means. And I know, to me, it means whatever happens, because things always happen in life. That is, unfortunately, the storms happen. And it's how we deal with them, how we react to them, and how we are after a storm comes through. And storm normally means it's some kind of a change. It's a transformation of some description, trying to almost like push us in a certain direction. That's how I feel about it anyway. And it's about how then we learn from that experience. We look at it and go, well, what did I learn? What do I need to take on board now to move forward? And I think that's one of the key things that I've been learning. I still get those knocks in it. I can still feel that sort of like wanting to shut down. And then I have to stand back and actually just look at it and think, okay, this has happened. Now, what do I need to learn to move forward and not remain stuck in that position? What about you, Caroline?
Yes, definitely about that. But sometimes we need that time, especially as introverts, to sort of shut down, go in the cave, process that, but then come out, not staying
Exactly. It's the
hidden.
coming out part, the resilience, the moving forward.
Exactly. And learning and probably also seeing the storm as part of the life, as an experience, not bad, not always judging it, and realizing we are not the storm, or not part of the storm to sort of fly away, but like you said, with the tree, grounding. And for me, it's resilience is always connecting to the inner calm and peace, grounding yourself, coming back to yourself. And that's especially, when things happen in your area or in the world, and then we can sort of be drawn into that and go like, oh, it's all so bad, there's war everywhere, blah, 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 blah. And then we're in the middle, we're part of that storm. But if we can sort of come back to the present moment, to our heart, connect to our soul, feel the calm and peace, then we're sort of back to us. And then we can sort of say, okay, what do I need? What would, or can have this outside perspective and say, what would help if we can send love and peace, or if we can donate to charity or something, what would help the situation? But also, of course, I mean, it's been now 16 years, when my marriage ended. And I mean, back then I had no idea of resilience or anything, and that was sort of the opening door. I just kept going. I had three very young children, and I was really trying to keep the routine for them. It was also soothing for me. I realized, just keeping the routine, keep going, being the mom, focusing on what's most important at a moment. And I think that's it, just focus on one thing and keep moving forward. And I didn't know what would happen, how would my world look like. It was just like marriage ended and everything fell to pieces. And that's sort of the resilience then to walk through those stones, maybe, circumventing some boulders or something, and finding your path. And we all have that if a marriage ends, a job ends, or anything. And I think what helped me with resilience is trusting that there is something better, or there's a reason for this to happen. I can't just see it yet, just that keep going. And then I knew in 2, 5, 10 years looking back, I would realize the reason or see the good in that really bad situation. There's always something good happening. And resilience is also about trusting that life is happening for you, that if something falls away, that it wasn't meant to be. For me, it was sort of, okay, it wasn't meant to be, or it was only meant to last this time. Or if you're applying for a job and you don't get it, then it's sort of, okay, it wasn't meant for me in this moment. Sort of, it's not giving up, but it's sort of trusting, and not going into, like you said, stuckness or blaming yourself or feeling sorry for yourself, or you're not good enough, nothing good happens, all the bad happens to me. Then you're not part of life. But I think with the openness, the positiveness, the connection to heart and soul, I think that's so important. And grounded, keep going. And resilience is also about taking one small step at the time, and not feeling overwhelmed of, oh gosh, I have to take this huge leap, but just small step after small step. And some days we just stand still because we have to grounded. We have to process it and doing the thing for you. I think that's, I think we do it for us. And yeah.
Yeah, I was just, when you were talking about that, I was thinking about how self-love is a key part of this, acceptance is a key part of this, and grounding is so important when you know who you are at your core, your heart and your soul, and you're grounded. It's like those root system that when they're deep, you're able to come back to yourself that much easier. And your energy level, I mean, again, it's about energy level as well, because when when you're hit by something, it can leave you reeling. You can fall into that negativity where your energy level just drops, and it then becomes that cycle of things happening. Whereas if you can be resilient to come back to yourself and to know who you are and grounded, and keep your energy levels going in that positive way, exactly by having that faith and firm belief that life happens for you. I love that, because I think sort of in the past, I'm like looking and going, yeah, I know exactly how I used to be. I completely fall apart, and the world was, I was that total victim. It's blamed the world, everything was everybody else's fault, blah blah blah. And now I don't try and not look at it that way, because we're human and we sometimes do fall back into it. But it's the nice thing is being resilient, where when that happens now, I realize it, I'm more conscious of it, and then I can bring myself back on track again. Because we all face challenges in life. There's storms, there's things happen that we don't have control of, and we just have to weather those storms. But as you sort of say, they're part of our journey. They're often the things that make us stronger and more return to ourselves, to return to where we need to be. And they're part of the things that shape us into the amazing heart and soul that we are. And looking back at my life now, Caroline and I've been through so much. I look back and think of, my own journey, finding out that I couldn't have children, the family that I longed for, and how that devastated me. And at the time, I had no mechanism to process that utter grief. And I only know that now because I realized that it was grief, because that was all taken away and I had no control of that. And it just left me stuck for so long. And now I look back and think, well, actually, if I'd had a family and had that normal sort of like life, I wouldn't have done all the amazing things I've done. I wouldn't have met you, Caroline. I wouldn't have lived up a mountain in Switzerland. I wouldn't have traveled the world, So I have to look back. Like you said, I look back now and go, actually, I've had a pretty amazing life. But at the time, it just felt like, oh no, my world is ended, blah, blah, blah. And now I look back and go, actually, no, that was the thing that sent me off on that different path that took me on a journey and helped me to find that journey of my spiritual growth, my healing journey. And I probably wouldn't have done that if life had been as I expected it to be.
Yeah, and also, but it's part of that journey, and I think whenever something happens, like when my marriage ended, I thought that, okay, I can focus on me now. Because as a couple, or, you always focus on couple things, or me, I was focusing on my then husband, making him happy and all these kind of things, and I was like, okay, I can focus on me. And like we learn so much about ourselves through those challenging times. And it's okay, I think, for a bit to, feel sad, go into turmoil, yeah. it's not easy when things happen, and give yourself that time and don't feel like you have to push yourself. I think in those times, in those storms, self-care is really, really important. And what I learned through my healing journey, healing takes energy. So take a nap if you need that. Um, Go for walks. Do things that soothe your heart and soul and help you connect to your inner world, connect to your feelings, and yeah, process that. And it's not like it's a process. It's not like you click a switch or something, but it's that process. Allow the process, because sometimes we can't rush the process because it's always through, I mean, we want to go around, but it's always through the pain, through this experience we learn and grow. And yeah, and it's okay to feel sad, to sometimes rail against the world or the situation. That's also part, because yeah, I think I was also in my marriage, and it's also a grieving process, and we have the 5 stages of grief. And allow yourself to go through that, and loop around, because it's not linear. It's never linear, but it's all that process. And I think seeing then the beauty in the process, and also take time, and look back, see how far you've already come. Because that's again with resilience, we always feel like we're at the same old, we're not even further. But unless we stop and then we say, okay, how was I yesterday? How was I a week ago? How was it last month? And then we see the progress, and then we feel, oh, wow. And then you can acknowledge your resilience. And sometimes resilience just means you get out of bed in the morning. Or everybody around you is still alive at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
It's a small thing sometimes.
it is, and just keep going. And sometimes, the shit really hits the fan, and yeah, keep walking, keep coming back to you. Be extra gentle. Like you said, I think resilience has to do with self-love, self-compassion, self-care, all those self-exploring, and asking yourself, it's that time. I think that's always, things happen, and then you're sort of going on a different path. And yeah, it's that time to ask for your soul purpose, to connect again to your soul, to your heart. And sometimes, yeah, I sit here and say, oh, did I really wish for this to happen? Made it, planned this, and just remembering that at a soul level, we were meant to go through these things. And I think that's also in a way helpful, because then it's like, it's not your fault. It's sort of your path.
Yeah,
It's your experience. It's like the universe, the angels are with you, because when you chose that, then it's your path, isn't it? And then it doesn't feel like an insurmountable mountain, but then it's sort of like, oh, it's just another hike up that little hill or something. And
exactly.
then you're not alone. I think that's the thing about resilience, is also trusting, connecting, grounding and connecting, and asking for help. Asking for help. Resilience is not, you have to do it all on your own, like I used to think, but it's asking for help. Ask a friend, ask families, ask the angels, the universe, the unicorns, the dragons, whatever you feel called to help. Also ancestors, I think my grandparents, and especially my father, I feel always at my side, guiding me or supporting me or hugging me in energy. And that helps your resilience as well, that you're not alone, that you're not having to dig out of this hole again alone.
Well, I pulled out a card and it came up with this one. I don't know if you can see it, higher ground.
I love
And
that.
that's
Beautiful rose, yeah.
it's beautiful, Rose. But that also made me think about resilience, and that path that you're talking about, our soul journey, is about sort of every sort of bump in the road or that storm that we come through is bringing us up a level, bringing us up to that higher ground. And I thought, oh, that's very relevant for today, actually. So I thought that was a lovely thing as a reminder that it is our soul journey. It is, we've come to the earth to have this experience. We signed up for it, and it apparently is one of the hardest places you can be. And it's not meant to be easy because we have things to learn, we have things to experience, and we signed up for it, whether you believe that or not, but here we are. And the purpose is about our growth, our development, our transition to that higher ground. So the nice thing is, like, I see it with Caroline. I now know it in myself, in that now every time something happens, I can see it as a sort of like, oh, okay. It's kind of like, yes, it's challenging sometimes to deal with, but then, as you say, when you come out of it and start to look at it, and you start to go, oh, actually, it's a chance to up level or use those new skills that you've learned and apply them, and then be, oh, I actually got through that and it was easier this time than it was last time. And so, it is about that journey of development and growth in our life path, our soul path. So I thought that was important. I thought that card was really relevant.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. It's always nice to feel guided and, yeah, supported. Yes, pull an
Definitely.
oracle card for yourself, get some guidance if you need, and keep going and trust your journey. And that's part of life, ups and downs and roller coasters and whatever else, rain and sunshine and rainbows, and all of it is part of life,
Yeah. There's, it's two sets of everything, the duality. Actually, we say there's actually more than that, but we think sort of, you can't know and feel happy if you haven't felt sadness. You don't get the real joy of joy again if you haven't sort of been in a place where you don't have that joy. So it's, everything has its place, its purpose. And I think absolutely right, Caroline, when you start to realize that it's just part of the journey, and it's not specifically happening to you because you're this or you're that, or you've done something. Because I used to think for a long time that I wasn't able to have kids because I was a bad person, that there was some reason that I was being, that this had happened to me because I had done something even in previous life. But now I just realize it's just part of my soul journey, and I accept it for what it is. And that releasing that was monumental. That was monumental. So yeah, resilience, being able to bounce back, being able to find your way through, and as you say, just to keep moving forward, even if it's very slowly, little steps, just, and taking on board whatever new learnings.
Exactly. And be like a toddler or a child, explore the world. I think we are all resilient, because otherwise we wouldn't walk. We would still crawl on the floor. If you have children or nephews or see children, when they start walking, they topple over, they get up again, and they keep walking till they managed it. And we all did that. It's not like you sort of get up and then you can walk. We tried and tried and tried. So all of us have that resilience already within. And trust that, connect to your heart and soul, and I hope we inspired you. If you have any questions, reach out to us, leave a comment. We always come back to you. Is there anything else you love to share, Janet, on resilience?
I think we've covered quite a bit there, Caroline, giving people lots to think about, and hopefully reach out to us if they have any questions. Absolutely. We're happy to share.
Good. Thank you so much.
Love and light blessings, everyone.